I also like to do this to open up my hips because I've dealt with a lot of hip and back issues in my life.
Yeah. Y'all sitting in my way, better back up. About to have a bad day, call it bad luck. I don't call it shit fake, call it back.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a different video for you. Today we're going to be going over my morning mobility routine. This is something I do every morning to wake my body up, get my spine moving, because our spine is actually very mobile, but often can become very stiff from everyday life. I also like to do this to open up my hips because I've dealt with a lot of hip and back issues in my life. This is quick and easy and takes me about 15 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna be walking through this together. I'm gonna be playing the video and doing the voiceover as we go along. So we'll see how this goes. So every morning when I start this routine, I like to start off with some deep spinal breathing. What I mean by that is I like to take my breaths from the base of my sacrum, from the base of my spine, all the way up into my head. So I start from the bottom of my spine, take a deep breath in, let the air flow up my body, up my spine, into my chest, into my neck, into my head, and exhale all the air. I do this for 10 deep breaths. And here you'll see I actually switch to nasal breathing. So I switch sides to really feel the difference. I've read something about this. If you want to know more, drop a comment down below. This is actually interesting for me because one nose seems to be clogged up more than the other a lot of the time. So this is different. Then I like to get into some cat camels, but I like to flip my hands because my forearms get really stiff and I don't do a lot of forearm mobility. So I start with this and I do my cat camels like this. I take my time tucking my toes because when I'm doing the breathing, my feet are plantar flex, meaning that my toes are pointing. So I like to take my time and not force movements. From here, I just take it slow and controlled, even though this looks fast because of the speed I added to it. Just moving my spine up and back, whatever feels comfortable, not forcing positions, that's important. You'll see my dog running in the background here. When I'm done, I take it nice and slow and I get into a downward dog, or no, I'm sorry, not a downward dog. I get into a child's pose. I'll take a couple deep breaths here before I move into anything else. From the downward dogs, or from the child's pose, I go right into an upward dog. And again, I take this nice and slow, even though you can't see because I sped up the clip. I take this nice and slow so that I can really feel the muscles open up. I can feel my spine open up and I'm not forcing movements. I used to be really bad about that. It always hurt. So again, taking deep breaths on the way back and then breathing out on the way up. Just trying to flow with my breath in the movements. This is actually really awesome because you get the lats moving. You can even see here, I kind of push my shoulder blades out a little bit to get more spinal movement. And what you don't realize sometimes is the shoulder blades, the scapula is actually attached to the spine. So you want to try to get it moving with the spine. Then I get into a downward dog position and I do 20 pedals. It's a little hard to see with this angle, but I do 20 pedals out to open up the backside of the legs. From here, I'll get into some more hip mobility, among other things, but this is really awesome because my calves get super tight, like my hamstrings. Then I throw a leg up, get those glutes involved, and then start doing some external rotations. I do 10 external rotations, 10 internal rotations to really feel my hip moving that socket. The hip's a ball and socket joint, so it has a lot of mobility. I like to take advantage of that. Then I get into the world's greatest stretch. This is really to open up the thoracic spine, open up your chest, get that moving with your hips. Then this one gets me every morning. My hamstrings, they're always so stiff. This one is really hard to keep your spine neutral, but you want to try your best. And when you do this, you really want to think about almost rounding your lower back. You don't normally want to do this, but in this case you do, so that you can really feel a deep stretch in your hamstrings. If you deal with butt wing, this may actually help, especially thinking about rounding at your lower back to get more of that anterior pelvic tilt. Then I get into a, what is this called? I'm drawing a blank right now. Pigeon pose, that's it. And I get into the pigeon pose and like, oh, I actually didn't say this, with the hamstring stretch, I do the same thing as I did with the deep breathing. So I do 10 deep breaths while stretching out the hamstrings on both sides. Same thing applies here when it comes to the pigeon pose. 10 deep breaths, trying to really open up the external rotators, really mobilize the hip a bit more. Then I get back into a downward dog and do 10 more pedals. Again, can't do enough, open up the posterior chain. It's important. Lift that leg up, get the booty fired. And then same thing on the other side, 10 external rotations, 10 internal rotations. I even bring I dorsiflex my foot a little bit so I can get a little bit of ankle mobility in there too. 10 of the world's greatest stretches. Those, I'm telling you, they're actually really good for any day any day of the week when you're warming up, because it gets your hips opened up, your thoracic spine, a bunch of shit. Back into the hamstring stretch here. My left side, actually, this isn't my left side, but my left side's usually worse. Pigeon pose, as you can see, and that rounds off the mobility routine for me. Every single morning I do this. Guys, that wraps up the video. I hope you took something from this. This is my morning mobility routine. I do it every single morning. I made tweaks here and there. I actually do a little bit of core stuff after I open up my hips, get my spine moving, get some breath work in. I like to do a little bit of core work because I've had some hip and back issues in the past, and making sure that my core is strong and stable to start the day is very important to me. So if you guys want to see more about that, if you want to see the core work I do, drop a comment down below. I'll make a video on that next. There are a bunch of ways to modify all of these mobility routines or exercises. If you're looking for a modified way, just reach out to me on social media. All the links will be down below. I have a couple mobility programs up on my website. The link will be down below, so make sure you go check that out. Subscribe to my email letter, and I'll see you in the next video.